Hey there folks, welcome back, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the new Feeder album, Tallulah, which was released, well, today. I wish I had my physical copy to show you. I've ordered one of the signed deluxe editions, but I made a mistake. That mistake was ordering it to the wrong place. So I'm going to pick it up tomorrow. I listened to this today digitally, however, so I'm going to give my thoughts, and I'm going to do it in a sort of track by track way, and at the same time give you my song of the week for this week. Before I do that, I want to talk about one of the things I'm going to be referring to over the course of this video, which is the track-by-track analysis that Grant Nicholas did. You can find it on Feeder's YouTube channel. I'll put a link to the playlist down below. So far, it's been 7 videos, so they're about a minute long. He talks for about 20-30 seconds of it about these songs and offers little insights here and there. Tallulah itself, in terms of the naming kind of traditions that Grant Nicholas does, sits somewhere in the middle of the more kind of common names like Laura and Jessie, and the more uncommon names that he has like Barbarella. But it's a really good album that focuses, and I know really good sounds very unprofessional, but it is a brilliant album that focuses on this story of, as we were told with Fear of Flying, this young musician trying to find their place in the world. It starts off with Youth, a song which fittingly has a lot of energy. It reminds me of a lot of stuff from Feeder's days gone by, as well as thinking in particular about stuff off of Generation Freak Show and songs like Idaho because of references to the States, as well as stuff off of the most recent release prior to this, which was Arrow. Then we get into the album and the kind of more youthful end of it as well. You have Blue Sky Blue, which starts to feel like stuff made after Confident Sound. It was a song originally offered to Liam Gallagher, and I'm glad that Liam didn't take Grant up on the offer. Well, because I wanted to listen to it because I don't like Liam Gallagher, but it's also because it feels very fittingly like a Feeder song still. It doesn't feel like a song that he wrote for somebody else. It feels, and to be fair, even a lot of the ones which have ended up in the Feeder catalogue where he's originally written it with other people in mind, they still feel like Feeder songs. Buck Rogers is a brilliant example of that. Then we go to Daily Habit, which in contrast feels like stuff from Confident Sound and before it. Again, Buck Rogers has a very similar kind of vibe to it, and it reminds me of a story which I heard about Buck Rogers, which is Grant Nicholas saying if he thought that it was going to be as big as it was in regards to the career of Feeder, he would have potentially rethought the line "drinking cider from a lemon." And it's this kind of foresight that goes into something like Daily Habit. The line about cafe culture, Grant Nicholas says, is a reference to when he went to a cafe and thought about the amount of time and money that people spent in these kinds of places. It has the youthful edge of early Feeder, as well as the kind of experience in the songwriting and the evolution of their style. Then we get into Fear of Flying, which in the context of the album itself feels like taking that leap. It's something you do feel when you listen to the song on its own, especially because it was the one that was released 4 months ago as the first teaser to the album. But it feels a bit more different when you're considering it in the context of the whole album, and if you're listening to it as a whole album. Then we get into Rodeo, which reminds me of Idaho. Not only because of the fact that in the Idaho video it has a kind of rodeo style theme to it, but because of the fact that it feels very sonically and lyrically similar as well. It's the idea of almost going on a journey. Then we get into Tallulah, the title track, and it reminds me of Grant Nicholas's solo album, Yorktown Heights. It's got a really good feeling to it, and he was inspired thinking about, again, youth and growing up. The fact that he says in the video his wife's best friend's daughter is called Tallulah. And so watching her grow up, it's kind of youth and innocence and the life's journey. Then we get into 2 songs which I like because of the fact that they feel like a mix of old and new Feeder in Shapes and Sounds and Guillotine. You can pretty much point to a Feeder album and you'll find something from it in those two songs. And I really like that. And then we get into Kyoto, which in itself is a reference. It reminds me of Godzilla, the 2002 Confident soundtrack, and it also offers a contrast between it. And I'm not just talking about the fact that we're talking about Japanese culture here. Godzilla off of Confident Sound takes place in an album that's dedicated to John, the original drummer. And in Godzilla you find a track that has the louder noises and the raw energy that you find in different bits and pieces of Feeder's early days. In Kyoto you find that as well. However, you find that it's also mixed with a lower tempo, and whilst it is a loud track on the album, almost unapologetically, you do feel the sense of this is where they've come from, this is where they are now. And then we get into Kite, which I love because of the fact that it has the new Feeder sound. So it has this kind of post-freak show sound, but it also throws in what sounds like an analog synth. And that sound reminds me of Polythene, it reminds me of Yesterday Went Too Soon, it reminds me of Buck Rogers. And so it says, we've looked back in the past and decided to add this to our future. And it's a quintessential Feeder sound that really works well and really complements the rest of the piece. Then we get into the final two tracks. Windmill feels like something you'd find on a B-side, it feels like something you'd find on a hidden track, and that's something Grant Nicholas talks about. He likes the fact that it feels like if you are a lifelong fan of Feeder or a very long-term fan of Feeder, it feels like something that you'd be able to instantly recognise as a Feeder song. And then we have Lonely Hollow Days, which is this kind of slow acoustic closer to the album. It's beautiful and it ends the story in quite a nice note. Again, it reminds me of Yorktown Heights, though I honestly believe that's probably more because of the fact it's an acoustic track rather than the lyrical and musical style of it. And that's that. I think it's absolutely fabulous as an album. I haven't done the test that I like to do, which is driving around with it, because I don't have a physical copy yet. But I will do that in due course, and if you want to find out more about it, I'll probably talk about it on a live stream on Sunday, so make sure to stay subscribed to the channel to find out more about that. I just want to end it by talking about the reviews I've seen for this album, because I've read two. One of them was done by Clash Music, the other one by The Guardian. The Guardian's one I really didn't like because, well, they gave it 2 stars and they said, oh, Fear of Flying reminds us of Foo Fighters and it doesn't feel like it's 2019. Whereas in Clash Music the reviewers said, we like the fact that it sounds like Foo Fighters and it sounds like Feeder. It feels like you can really contrast the two responses, and Clash Music gave it an 8 out of 10. Now I don't like doing that kind of rating in those senses. I like to put albums together in my top of the year, my favourite ones to listen to, and Tallulah, especially at this moment, is right up there. It's another solid entry into Feeder's extensive catalogue, and I can't wait to see them until later this year. It's going to be amazing. Okay, and before I go, I need to pick a song of the week for this week, so I'm going to be picking Daily Habits. Like I said, it's very much a reminder of something like Buck Rogers, but more kind of brought up to date and seeing how Feeder are today. Now the reason why this looks like it's tacked on is because it kind of was. I was originally going to pick Youth, and I'd recorded a video which had said that, but I forgot that I already picked that for a song of the week. So yeah, Daily Habit, you can check it out down below. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope to see you around soon. And until next time, goodbye for now.